and we'll look at something called the project lifecycle. In the end, like I said, this is a crash course. We're trying to help you understand different aspects to project management and help you appreciate the career area and profession. That domain is exciting. There are different layers to project management. There could be project management in tech, in IT. There's project management in construction, project management in oil and gas, project management in engineering. However you look at it, the principle is the same. What we do is the same. What is just different is the sector we operate in or the industry, the laws and regulations that govern those sectors, and the products and services that we deliver will be different. But the principle for setting up your project is the same. And this brings me nicely to what we call the project lifecycle. Now, on this project lifecycle, there's a recording on YouTube. You could go to the Ostratec channel, go there now and subscribe, like. That recording will also give you a lot more understanding of the project lifecycle. But simply put, you see, the project lifecycle is the period from the start of a project to the acceptance of the project's product or to the end of the project. Just looks at the start to the finish. That's what it does. Okay, typically based on the PMP, Project Management Professional, which is the methodology I've sort of picked the stages from, it's typically will have 5 stages. It's your startup or initiation. If you look at them properly, self-explanatory, there's nothing difficult about them. Straightforward to understand, nothing difficult. The color code is just for differentiation. Don't think they must have a particular color. It's just for differentiating the stages. So we have the startup or initiation. We have the planning. As the name goes, you can almost literally understand. We have implementation and execution. Then we have monitoring and control. And also we have closing. When we look at them individually, with the startup or initiation, just to summarize, the key thing we want to achieve is make sure the objectives are defined, make sure the deliverables are determined. And one of the main outputs of that stage is something called a project initiation document. When you write these documents, I'm already touching on the type of documents you have on the project because there's quite a lot to project management. The project initiation document is that document or artifact you create at the start of your project or when you are initiating your project, which sort of instructs that you are now able to progress your project to a sound basis. All of what you need for delivering that project is defined. The roles and responsibilities are clear. The project scope is defined. The objectives are clear. The timelines, high level, clear. That you must deliver that project to is clear. The cost is clear. The controls you must have on that project are also established. Your change control, your risk and issue management process, your quality control. All of what you must do to ensure quality control assurance, all defined, how you're going to manage all of those will be all set out in that document. Now, when you look at methodologies, they will define different things as you must have. We'll talk about methodologies and frameworks shortly so that you appreciate what we're talking about. They will all set out or set expectations for different artifacts, documentation, and will run to different kinds of principles that will instruct what you must do as part of your project startup or setup. Okay, but the main output for your initiation or startup is that project initiation document. But please go to that video I've talked about. It's on the Ostratec YouTube channel. It will help you appreciate this a bit better because it goes into a lot more detail. Imagine what we're looking at here is well covered, and I provide a lot more granular elaboration to it. So planning then is about, we have understood our scope, we've understood what we are doing, we have a PID, we have a project initiation document, we have mobilized that team, we know the people, the roles, responsibilities. What we then do with planning is basically get the team around the table, and we want to ensure we have a detailed work breakdown structure for all these deliverables and components we must deliver. We want to ensure that leveraging the expertise of all the subject matter experts, technical practitioners, we have clearly defined schedules for that particular project. As part of the planning, you will even find there are skill sets, team members that you require, role types you need as you start to shape and develop your plan. You want to sort of clearly identify those. Also, this is why your work breakdown structure helps you understand the resources, the skill sets you need for delivering your project. So you identify those and make sure your team is well established and focused on what you must do. Planning also does something for us. In addition to your work breakdown structure, your resource breakdown structure, it also gives you your cost estimate. It makes it clear exactly how much things will cost. So you also have cost breakdown structures as part of planning, and you start to anticipate areas of uncertainties where you are not very sure how you're going to progress items on your project. Anticipate those areas of uncertainty on your project, areas where there are likely events that could occur that could trip your project or jeopardize or threaten it. You want to start to anticipate them and mitigate those risks. The implementation stage then is just quite straightforward. That plan we delivered, we want to implement it and deliver the outputs and deliverables and overall project product. So monitoring and control is a stage that sort of in this picture follows implementation, but it is not necessarily so. It's something that runs throughout your project. So basically with that, we're monitoring progress, we are controlling and mitigating risk and addressing issues. Anything that could jeopardize our project, we want to get a hang of them and mitigate them, nip them in the bud before they trouble that particular project. All things going well, as you run all these stages with due diligence, with good focus, with good application of your skills, where you get to is a place where you can now say, oh, we have delivered all the project products and services. The full scope has been achieved. And then the project is completed. The users have accepted that product. You are able to learn lessons and celebrate success. The main output of this stage is your project closure report. Okay, and that project closure report will also include your lessons learned, all the lessons you've learned as part of that project arrangement. So there's quite a lot of artifacts and products. We've talked about the business case at the start. We've talked about the project initiation document. We've just talked about your project plan. And we've said your project plan will be made up of your work breakdown, your resource breakdown, your cost breakdown. And then you want to implement. When you implement, you will also test. So there's going to be a lot of testing. So different role types coming together with different skills depending on the product or service to sort of shape your project delivery. Based on all of these things we have done, we are now at a point where we can actually define project management. So that if we had to define it, project management then is the planning, delegating, monitoring, and control of all aspects of the project. It will include or involve the motivation of all those team members, the subject matter experts, the specialists working with you to achieve the project objectives within the expected performance target for time, cost, scope. These three make up what we call the triple project constraints. And Prince 2, which is project in a controlled environment, which we'll talk about, introduce additional 3. For scope, some people will say quality. I just prefer to say scope. Because in the end, if you deliver to scope, you deliver to quality. If you deliver properly to your scope, you will deliver to the quality expectations. Prince 2 talks about benefits. It talks about quality as a separate performance target. And then we have risks. The aim of the risk aspect is to always make sure you deliver to minimum risk exposures. That is the main aim, making sure you deliver to minimum risk exposures. Okay, so these 6 make up what we call the critical project success factors. In Prince 2 terms, it will call them variables, project management variables or aspects. But if you can deliver to time, which is the duration, expected duration for your project, if you can deliver to cost, which is the expected budget you are allowed to spend for that particular project, and you deliver to your scope, and you deliver benefits to your stakeholders, and deliver to the quality expectations and standards, and to minimum risk, chances are your project will be successful. So that when we summarize this page, what you are saying is project management is the planning, delegating, monitoring and control of all aspects of the project, and the motivation of those involved to achieve the project objectives within the expected performance targets for time, cost, scope, benefits, quality, and risks.